I will rate this based on a high-ranked ladder play viability and carry potential. Not necessarily pro play, but this is supposed to be a high-rank character viability tier list. And in the latest patch, what we had is kills are more important because kills give more money. Objectives are way more important because objectives give more money to the people that kill them, and they give flex slots are harder to come by because you have to kill 3 walkers or 3 guardians for the first objective, for the first flex slot, and you have to kill 3 walkers for the third flex slot. Plus, they nerfed gold income from lane creeps. So because lane creeps are also worth less, teamfighting becomes exceptionally important. And what happens in practice is, this promotes a lane bully meta. And when I say lane bully meta, I mean characters that are really strong either in lane or early mid game. And because fights are so important and killing people is so important in this meta, lane bullies become way too strong again. And we've had this before the item rework patch, where everyone just picks lane bullies and then it's perma team fighting. And in my opinion, before we start doing this, I think this is really unhealthy for the game. I'm not saying promoting teamfights is bad, but we're not promoting anything else. We're not promoting split pushing much, because split pushing is really risky now, right? And split pushing a lot of the time involves farming lane creeps and then only going for the walker when you can get it for free. Jungle becomes less important, so farming becomes less important because again, jungle and lane creeps give less money. Picking off the enemy in the enemy jungle or farming the enemy jungle is worth less, right? Because the enemy doesn't care about their jungle. They would rather kill your team over and over. So what happens is this game is becoming really one-dimensional, where everyone just runs into a team fight. And the beauty of a MOBA, in my opinion, is there's always choices. And you think I'm over-exaggerating, but I really feel that way. If you look at Deadlock Fight Night the last week, and if you look at like high-level play, it's perma team fighting. I'm not saying you're wrong for enjoying this playstyle, but I'm saying we're playing a MOBA and not a hero shooter. We're not playing Marvel Rivals or Overwatch where you permanently fight. I'm not saying I want to get into an AFK farm meta, but it's just perma team fighting. A big beauty of Deadlock, in my opinion, is that you can outsmart the enemy. And now there's no outsmarting anymore, because every single dumbass can just join a team fight. It doesn't require a brain, because there's only one correct choice. The game gets dumped down and it becomes really one-dimensional. And this is what we're moving towards, again, for whatever reason, in my opinion. And that's really unhealthy. And we can see that very clearly on this Calico character, by the way, that got nerfed quite a lot on paper, right? They made breaking boxes harder, and they nerfed a lot of things about her, like her leaping slash has less scaling, right? Like she got nerfed quite a lot on paper, but it turns out she's still insanely strong because she's insanely good in mid-game fights. And she's insanely good at winning those fights early on. So she's S tier, even though she got nerfed. No balance of, like, in fact, I would argue Calico is just as strong as before, if not stronger. I also think Dynamo is still okay. He didn't get changed a lot, but he's pretty solid in team fights. His win rate is going up now. He's actually above 50% in Eternus and Ascendant. Like, he's very strong. Great Talon is still absolute dog shit, kinda. He hasn't been good for a while, but Great Talon is not really the best in teamfights, right? Like, he's very squishy and he's kind of a pick-off character, and pick-offs matter less. Like, he is actually just even worse than before, because one of his big strengths is that he can get pick-offs, but pick-offs are less valuable. You want teamfights. Yeah, this is a solo queue tier list. Haze is still insane. Easy A+ tier, in my opinion. The way you play Haze now, if you want to play her correctly, is you go for a pretty early silence wave, and then you just go to an enemy, silence wave them, and ult them, right? So this is a pick-off character, but you can start a team fight doing that, right? She's also an initiator. Kills are really valuable, and Haze is really good at getting kills. So she's really good. Now, this Holiday character was considered like mid before this patch, and there were no changes to Holiday directly. Because of all the other changes, she went back to domination, utter domination tier in high rank, in my opinion. So first off, Rescue Beam got nerfed, the cooldown is now double, and Rescue Beam was like the hardest counter to Lasso. And now because people buy way less Rescue Beams, Lasso gets free kills again, right? And what's good in the current meta? Getting kills. That got stronger, and because Holiday is also a strong laner, she's just like back to that, like, you know, best pick-off initiator character in the game. Infernus is completely broken, probably top 3 characters in the game. Some might argue it's the best character in the game for ladder. He was already strong before this patch, and the devs decided to not nerf him at all. For no reason. And the reason Infernus is so good is not because of his late game carry potential. It is insane, right? Like, if you get to late game against Infernus and he has Ricochet and Inhibitor and Leech, he can't die and he kills your entire team. But now, he's also really strong in mid-game fights since the item nerfs, or the item rework, sorry. Because he scales really well and he can put out a lot of damage with not a lot of items, right? So Infernus is a hard carry character, like Wraith was, is a hard carry character, but Infernus is also really solid in lane and really strong mid-game. Another funny thing is, because we nerfed all the other left clickers, McGinnis is now stronger, because, I'm gonna put a B tier, because we nerfed like every other left clicker kinda, McGinnis is becoming stronger and stronger, and McGinnis is actually very solid in teamfights. So you see this character in high rank actually running gun and hard carrying. But she's still like, you know, I'm not saying she's OP. She's a very solid character in this current meta. What is not balanced is Mirage, because Mirage, same thing as for Infernus. Mirage was insane before this patch, and they didn't nerf him. And what is Mirage good at? Early fights, right? What are Mirage's weaknesses? He's pretty slow at farming, and well, that's it, right? He's pretty slow at farming. But farming, again, as I just explained, if you watched, farming is kind of irrelevant. Right? Because you don't want to farm, you just want to get your money by getting kills. And Mirage is insane in lane, best laner in the game probably, or top 2 laners in the game. Probably best early mid-game character in the game too. He does insane damage at any stage in the game. For the people that, you know, were like, oh, Spirit was too strong, Spirit was too weak, we need to buff. They didn't fix the gun characters that were already strong. And Mirage is one of those. Monkrill, also better again. Because kills are good, and Monkrill wants to get kills, right? Kills are good. Pocket is easily A tier, in my opinion, if you play him well. There's this debate about spirit characters being weak. If you are a lower ranked player and you play Pocket and you let the game like pass 30 minutes, he does fall off in the later game. But until then, he's like server admin. He can one-shot anyone in the lobby. He does insane burst damage. He's insane in team fights. And he's the most survivable character in the game if you play him properly. 7? I think 7 is also A tier in ranked, at least, right? I almost want to put him S tier. Again, he's kind of like Infernus, where he scales really, really well into the late game. So if you get to late game on 7, he's insane. But he can put out a lot of value in mid-game fights if you build for his ult, right? If you buy Suppressor, you buy Healbane, you buy Spirit Lifesteal, and you just have a fight under the urn, the more people are in a fight, the better 7 becomes, right? And because people are encouraged to have a lot of big team fights, 7 becomes stronger. Shiv is back to fucking broken status. Also an S tier character. Shiv is the best mid-game character in the game, other than Mirage, maybe. Like early mid-game. The first 2 urn fights on Shiv, you are the best character in the game. You don't die, you one-shot almost everything, you do insane damage, and you're the most tanky character in the game. Teamfight only meta. Sinclair also, I don't know, this looks kind of silly because everything is S tier, but these characters are truly broken. And the fact that we didn't have Sinclair is also crazy. And every time I put Sinclair in a high tier, people in the YouTube comments go, I never see Sinclair, he can't be that good. The thing with Sinclair is, he is pretty hard to learn, so it takes a while for him to get online, right? Sorry, it doesn't take a while for him to get online. It takes a while for an average player to get value out of him, but once you get that value, he's insane, right? Like, Mass, Rabbit, AoE, Melee, the Vexing Bolts have insane AoE, and he's the best laner in the game. With Mirage. Like, he wins every lane by himself. Which means, in a meta where you want to win the lane and want to win early game team fights, you know, this character might be kind of overpowered and needs a hard nerf. Yeah, so Sinclair is easily S tier. I'm gonna put Viscous in A. I'm gonna put Viscous in A. And this is, in pro play, pro players would disagree. In pro play, Viscous is first ban, first pick material. But he's partially a supporting character still, right? So if your team doesn't do well, he gets less value, right? Like, a lot of his value comes from his cubes, and even his ult is more of a disruptor ult, right? Like, it doesn't kill unless you're like the GOAT, it doesn't kill the entire enemy team by himself. He just disrupts the teamfight a lot. So on Viscous, you need other players on your team to do well. So if you don't have good players, he doesn't carry as hard. But once you have a decent team, he's insane. Abrams is also back to being better. Last patch, I think I rated him a lot lower. But I do think he's very viable now. He's still pretty weak in lane because his charge takes so long to come off cooldown. But if you survive lane and you go do pretty well in lane, his mid-game potential is insane. He has insane brawl potential. Almost to the level of Shiv, I want to say. Not quite, right? But like, Abrams excels in big team fights, right? If you hit multiple people with a charge, you basically win the team fight. This character is insane. Another character that's really coming back, which I hate, or like at the same time, is Bebop. Because every time Bebop is being played, he gets nerfed. So maybe we'll get another Bebop nerf. But Bebop is coming back out of the shadows, and people, including myself, I think we kind of all undervalued him a bit. He's like getting back to, like he's still a lane bully, kinda. He's not as strong in lane anymore because everyone has more HP, right? But like he can, it's very hard on Bebop to lose a lane. And then mid game and later game, you know, you have that hook. And a hook is a free kill. No. People are saying like there's too many characters in S tier, but these characters are all insane. I cannot, in good consciousness, maybe I can rate Holiday a bit lower. Maybe I can put Holiday in A, like A+. But like I cannot in good conscience rate any of these characters lower than S tier. Ivy seems kinda, I want to say mid, right? Like she's a support character still. But because other left clickers got nerfed, she's getting a bit better if you get like money. But I think you still want to play Ivy as a support, and Ivy as a support is good, but like she's not insane. Not much to say about her. I think Kelvin is easily A+ tier. I almost want to rate him S tier as well. I mean, he did get slight nerfs, but nothing really changed, right? Like he's still, like he wins the lane for free with Arctic Beam. And again, winning the lane and getting early kills is important. And he's insane in teamfights, obviously, with the Ice Dome. Yeah, we did nerf Lady Geis, by the way. In case you couldn't tell, she got nerfed, but she's just the same, if not stronger. Because she still wins every lane. And then she still wins every team fight, and she doesn't die. Basically, the TLDR of this patch is really, all the characters they nerfed are still insanely strong. Nothing changed. Other than, spoilers, Wraith is absolute dog shit. I'm gonna rate, you can hate me for this. I think Wraith is the second worst character in the game right now. I think Talon is weaker. Not by much, but I think Wraith is like absolutely horrible. She's absolutely unplayable in lane. Like she's the worst laner in the game by far now, after the HP nerf. And, you know, usually Wraith had that redeeming quality to where if you let her get to late game, she becomes good. But they nerfed the gun damage by 18% and nerfed her spirit, the spirit damage on the full auto. And she has no redeeming buffs, right? Like that card buff did nothing because it actually nerfed the cards in lane. She's terrible. Why play Wraith if Infernus exists or Mirage, right? Like, she's not good in team fights. And she is, even if you get to late game and you have money on Wraith, she feels weak. Warden? Yeah, Warden is also S tier. I hate to say it. Yeah, Warden got nerfed, by the way, but he's still, like, last stand is still insane. In fact, if you build for Spirit, it's even stronger because the scaling got buffed. Crazy character. Not much to say about Warden. The TLDR of this patch is really not much changed. Other than Wraith being dog shit. And characters that are strong early getting better. That's kind of what happened this patch. Lash. I just realized we have no character in C tier. But I can't put Lash in C tier. Lash is also really solid. Like, Lash is a solid character. Very strong. I guess we can put Paradox in here. Which is really surprising. I don't think Paradox is weak, but like, the win rates do tell a different story to an extent. I couldn't tell you how that is. And it feels wrong putting her in C tier. It feels wrong. I have to put her in B. I guess Vindicta is gonna be our lonely C tier character. Because, like, Vindicta is not great at anything. She needs farm to get online. Like, she's not great in early teamfights. Viper, I guess, on the same page. Where, you know, Viper exists and does damage. And if you don't shut Viper down, she can actually kind of carry, but that's about it. And then Yamato is an easy A tier as well. It's a lane bully. Wins the lane for free. And then, after that, you know, you can still get to late game really well. I guess I have to put McInnes down here too. I rated McInnes a bit too high. But yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. Pick lane bullies. Every single character up here is insane, starting from minute 1. And the thing is, Infernus is probably, funnily enough, the weakest out of the laners here. But then mid game he becomes insane, and then late game he becomes Jesus, right? So McGinnis is the Infernus is the only character that requires farm in the S tier to carry. But when he gets farm, he kills everyone, and everyone else is just good no matter what. Everyone else is good. It doesn't matter if you're ahead in money, behind in money. They're always good. They're absolutely broken. So yeah, this is a brain dead perma teamfight only, no macro skill required meta. I think the devs are moving definitely in the wrong direction. I think it's really unhealthy for the game. Yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I think the Deadlock defenders will defend or Deadlock and call me trash. But I don't think, I really don't want to play Marvel Rivals. I don't want to dumb the game down. I think at least the people that play MOBAs will understand where I'm coming from. And if you like not using your brain, that's cool. If you like playing Deadlock as a casual game, that's cool. But I think a big part of the appeal of Deadlock is that it's a really complicated game where you can make a lot of choices to outsmart the enemy. And they're just kind of removing layer after layer of intelligence required to play this game. Where in 5 years from now, we might look back and only a population of monkeys will play this game. Now, I'm being kind of overdramatic. I think, realistically, the devs will turn it around. I think Valve is really competent, and they're gonna turn it around and realize they're doing it wrong in balance sense. Because, again, I love Deadlock, and everything else they're doing correctly. I think the content updates are insane. I think the item rework patch was insane. I just really don't like the way they're handling balance. I think they need to reconsider how they handle balance. That's just my take.